So I'm making potato dinner rolls today. And first we start with some warm water. You just turn that on. 1.5 cups of warm water. And I like to, it's good to get it between 100 and 110 degrees, if you can get up to 100. And you don't have to, but it does tend to take longer to rise if you don't get it.
If you don't get it warm enough.
Yeah, it'll just take longer. And okay,
That's exactly.
100 degrees, that's good.
Okay, right where you want.
Yeah. Pressed.
Okay, so then I put the water, sprinkle a tablespoon of yeast.
We store the yeast in the refrigerator too.
It stores longer that way.
Oh, not the freezer.
Either one you
Oh.
can.
Well, I keep the main bag in the freezer, but I have the one I use in the refrigerator.
And I just pulse it a few times to get it all in there. And the next is the 2/3 cup of sugar. That will make sure that the yeast actually works.
The yeast grows because it feeds on the sugar.
Yes. Then the potato rolls, I used potato flakes. Years ago, the recipe I got was to bake a potato, mash it, and then put it in. But I couldn't quite get the potato mashed enough, and there was a lot of lumps. But now we have potato flakes, and I just put it in a little water, actually about 3/4 cup of water, and then stir it with a fork.
Do you use hot water?
No, just because it
Just
will
stir it in.
thicken while we're doing everything else. Okay. And then the rest goes in. It'd be
Can you just pour it in with the liquid? It'd probably just disappear, wouldn't it?
just the flakes.
Yeah, if you just put the flakes in with
Well,
some liquid.
Diana,
With the
you do
water.
it that way, don't you? Just
Oh, the way I'm quietly thinking, I probably ought to follow directions. I put all the dry ingredients, including
The potato
the
flakes.
potato flakes, in at the same time.
And
And then I put the equivalent water
Water.
in with the liquid.
So there's several ways you can do it. Yeah, and so now you can see it already became potatoes. So I'll just add that in there. Oops.
This.
This is a recipe that all three of us have had a great deal of success in making these rolls.
And Joanne has one too. A recipe that's good.
You use a different recipe?
Yeah.
I've
And
never
then
made her recipe. I'm
Oh.
gonna try it.
Oh.
2 eggs.
Pre-cracked.
Yeah. And 2 cubes of butter, softened. It's better if you soften it. Okay. And then 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I think that's all. Yeah. So I will post that actually I won't post it. I put in part of the flour so that it can beat for a little while, and then I add the more flour. So I will start with about half the flour. That's 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm going to do 4 cups, and then you'll see what it looks like.
How long? Oh, that's
Oh,
a...
that's just until I add the rest of the, well, actually, so you can see, you want it nice and smooth. And then, I beat this part on for about 3 minutes. And then I will add the rest of the flour with the dough hook. So let me
So we'll
do
be
that.
back in a minute.
We'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I have it mixed, and it's very smooth, and it's kind of it did most of the mixing there. So I'm going to add the rest of the flour.
And she also changed to the dough
And I
hook.
changed to the dough hook, yeah. So this is 5 cups.
Total is 6 cups.
So far I've put in 6. So this, it looks sticky, but it's supposed to be, because the stickier the dough, the better the roll. It'll be a lot more moist and tasty.
That's what's nice, that you can't really get when you're hand mixing it, because you can't handle it this sticky.
Yeah, you can't. But once it rises, you can handle
Yeah.
it a little bit better. So I think I may even put about a half a cup, but it will still be very sticky.
How long are you heating it at this stage? How many minutes?
I will probably beat this just a couple minutes. Okay, so the way you tell that you shouldn't add any more flour is when it looks like this. And yet, you can see that it's still sticky. It could even be a little stickier and it won't matter. It'll still be good.
Well,
So you don't have to have it right with you.
Okay. That's probably good.
we need to.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to put it in a bowl to rise.
It can't rise in the bush bowl.
It can,
too
but
big?
it might go over. Yeah, but maybe not. Might be less steps that way. Okay. So this looks pretty good. Okay. So see, you can see how sticky that is still. That's good.
Well, it makes sense. If you have more flour, it would be drier.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So I sprayed this with cooking spray first, and then I will bring up the,
Pick the bowl.
yeah, spread the bowl, and then you bring up the,
so what do you cover the bowl with?
just like a tea towel.
Okay.
And that will rise for about an hour. Okay, the roll dough has now risen, the first rising, and I will kind of punch it down and take a good sized piece to form my rolls. And you can see by that how sticky it is, but you can handle it. It's pretty good. Okay, so what I like to do is roll a long piece like that, about that wide. Gotta pull it out to make it even. Okay. So this is what makes it go faster for me.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then I just pinch that along the edge. And this is the next part is the fun part. Because when you're done, It has a little swirl on top. Almost looks like a cinnamon roll.
So you have rolled it up like a cinnamon roll without filling.
Yes. And it looks pretty on your plate when it's all risen.
Oh, that's it? Oh, you're using the spiral as part of the design.
As part of the design.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
So that one won't be as much of a design. But it does come out looking pretty. And it's faster.
I'll say.
Yeah. Should have slammed that down there. Yeah,
So
that
you
one's a
do
little bit better.
4 wide and 60?
I do
Or
6 by 4. Is that 24?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just do that. 5. Yeah, you can scoot them fairly close to each other. And they each come out different, but they each look
Purposeful.
yeah.
Oh, Aunt Gwen, I thought it was the coolest thing at the time when we were children. Aunt Gwen would make Parker House rolls.
Oh,
Oh, those were so good. And
Those
she
are
would
so
cut them
pretty.
out in a circle,
Yeah.
crease it about a third of the way, and then fold up the smaller part on top of the bigger part.
Wow.
That was pretty. Or if she was really fancy, she would make clover leaf.
I
Our family
remember
is
those.
much larger than Aunt Gwen's family was at the
Yeah.
time. And she did that so beautifully and so fast. But these are
Wow.
even faster.
Yeah, this is fast.
I miss Aunt Gwen.
I do too. She was the life of the party.
Yeah. And a fantastic cook.
Yeah. So you don't want it too wide.
How would you say that's 5 or 6 inches?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
Oh, we've got an inch thing right there. 1, 2.
What is it?
Yeah, it's
5 or
about 6 inches.
Yeah. You can kind of do it really however you like. But I just thought of this one day, about a month ago. Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? I don't need to take a little piece of roll and form it each one at a time, which is what I've done for years.
So when you said you take a portion of dough, are you estimating, is it like a quarter of what's in the bowl?
Each time for this?
Yes.
Sometimes it's shorter, because somebody might have a smaller
So
area to work on.
just work with
Yeah,
it.
just whatever you
Okay.
can fit on your surface that you're working. Yeah.
And if we were not using this handy little mat,
Yeah.
we could do it directly on our countertop,
Yes.
but we would not advise that you use flour
Right.
to keep your rolls from
Yes.
sticking.
Yeah.
Bonnie, what would you use?
I would spray either your counter where you're going to work or on a board with cooking spray, only cooking spray. When you keep adding flour because it's sticky, then your roll will be dry.
So naturally, I have to say I would use olive oil.
Yeah, and olive oil.
So that works
I
as
like
well.
olive
They
oil,
both
yeah.
work, but not flour.
Not flour.
Not flour.
You see, they kind of look thinny sometimes.
So why these rolls are so famous is because there is not an excess of flour in the dough or on top of the dough.
That's right.
It's really not very much flour.
Yeah. And I'm making these kind of big. You can make them smaller. One time I made them very big for hamburger buns.
Oh.
It turned out pretty good.
Oh, did you curl them this way for hamburger
No, I
buns?
didn't, but
Oh.
I just made a big
Yeah.
bun. Yeah. But that would actually work.
But I'll tell you, Bonnie, this method is the same way that I've seen on the internet making hot dog buns.
Oh, is
You
that
make a
right?
rectangle and you roll it up and you've got a perfect tube. Yeah, that's the way to do
So see, they
hot dog buns too.
so they each look a little different. This one looks a little small. So what I do is cheat and put a little piece underneath.
Oh, underneath.
Yeah. And that one looks a little small, and you can never tell.
That just folds it up right there. Well, the reason you can add little pieces is because this is not a heavily floured dough.
Exactly.
So it just kind of melts into itself.
And when I was first starting to make rolls, I was kind of concerned that they didn't all look the same. And then my husband says, well, because they don't look the same, everyone knows they're homemade, which is good.
You don't want it too perfect, right?
So see, I still have quite a bit of dough. I'll just cut off. And you can see it handles really well. It didn't handle this well in the mixer, but as it rises, it gives a real good feel. So I'll probably work with a little bit less this time.
So one time I was trying to help with a prom dinner, and I ran out of time to make the rolls, and I was supposed to bring the rolls. So I ran to a local bakery that's famous for delicious rolls, Shirley's. And I bought all the Shirley's rolls I needed. It was a little pricey, but it was worth it because I was out of time. And the first thing after the dinner was served was my grandson Benson said, "Are these Aunt Bonnie's rolls?" Hers are that good. It's perfection, Bonnie, the ones you turn out. So these may look a little lumpy, but they're going to even out as they rise. And these, we wish we could pass each one out to our viewers because they're very delicious.
You can see I didn't do this one as wide, but it will still turn out fine.
I like how you just do a quick pinch down the
Yeah,
side.
it doesn't really matter. I decided.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to be a little skinny, so I'll do that extra big one.
Well, if you can do these quickly, no matter what the time
Yeah.
pressure is,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of the guesswork
Yeah.
out of it.
See, I can feel that some of
Yeah.
these are already rising.
Because if you're making like a croissant-shaped roll,
Oh yeah,
that is time-consuming.
very.
There's
See, even those look a little funny on here, but when they're baked, people won't even.
We will show you a picture as they're completed. Is this the last of it?
No.
Oh yeah, you've got it.
So you see, it makes the one single batch makes quite a few.
That's no rolling for dough balls.
No. No, what I used to do is I'd pinch off a little piece and wonder if I had enough, and then I'd try to make it a ball, and it would take forever. And I'm afraid I've done that for many years. So now before I die, I get to do it an easier way.
You'll have to live longer so you can benefit by this great idea. Well, this makes roll making even kind of
It'll
fun.
be a little bit too small.
There's no
These
boredom.
don't look as much like cinnamon rolls as I did one time, but if you're real careful and you do it real thin, it probably would, but they're rolls, not cinnamon rolls, so it doesn't matter.
And we've all noticed in the short time on our channel that demonstrating food is different than being in your own kitchen by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to manage it as smoothly as you can when no one's looking.
So we'll do the rest and be back when they're risen. Okay, our rolls are baked and out of the oven, and you can brush them with butter to make them extra special. I don't always, but it kind of gives them a finished look. Just kind of like that. You don't even have to melt the butter. Just get one of these nice silicone brushes.
As long as the butter's soft.
As long as the butter's soft, yeah. Okay, and they're ready to eat.